continuing this time on our soul journey using the book, The Metaphysics of Shoes. And this time we're talking about some stilettos. Last week we talked about, the first one was baby shoes, so you had to take baby steps first. The second one was dancing shoes, the lady would dance back into life. And the next one last week was gator shoes, a young man who was able to, with grace and ease, command a space with self-confidence. Today we're going to talk a bit about stilettos, metaphorically. Anyway, and we know, it was interesting. I had done this all up and read the book, and I didn't realize that in the revealing word there was a definition for shoes, because a lot of times I'll go in there is not a definition, so I didn't think. So in my prayer call with Reverend Pipe, she said, "So you know it's in the revealing word?" I said, I didn't even think to look, because so many things I've looked for aren't there. So this is what shoes was written about. The explanation of shoes, or for the metaphysics of shoes, is shoes represent the words with which understanding truth is clothed. I'll say it again. Shoes represent the words with which understanding truth is clothed. So your shoes are like your clothes. You put them on your body. And the shoes are what you put on your feet. And their understanding of the truth that is already within you. Because it says, when on holy ground or substance in his spiritual wholeness is approached by man, he must put off from his understanding of all limited thoughts about the absolute, and he must put his shoes off his feet. Do you understand that? If you're not understanding the power and the glory of God that is within you, if you're not understanding and grasping your internal truth, the understanding that you are a part, an individualized expression of God, take your shoes off. Put your feet on holy ground, wherever's your foundation. Walk in it. Get your truth restored. Release all limiting thoughts, because maybe those shoes that you have on are hurting your feet. And so they're limiting the movement of your feet and your thoughts, and regain your understanding. So these stories that I'm sharing about a soul journey are so that you can release all those things that are limiting you or keeping you from the absolute truth that is already within you, and allows you to put on the shoes that give you the strength to move forward. Because every shoe you put on, whatever type it is a journey that you're taking, and each of us chooses the journey we choose to take. It doesn't randomly happen. You choose it, because your feet represent the phase of understanding that connects us with the outer and reveals our right relationship with the outer world to our inner world. This is your feet, and when you clothe them in God, then those shoes are a representation of moving forward in balance and in grace. So as I've told you before, this is a book that I'm using about the metaphysics of truth, bringing about the truth of what's from within us. So today's one is about, and I called it, are you ready to take the walk? Are we ready to take the walk in life? The walk in truth? Can I hear anything? I'm going to ask you the question today. Are you ready to take a walk? Okay. I know it was the talk, but yes. And this verse I found I really liked. It was from Joshua 1:3. It says, "Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, to you have I given it." Every soul, every place that you put your foot, every place that you put your foot and move it through, God has given it to you. You get to stand up and move in power. Even if you're in a wheelchair or your feet or anything, God has given you His truth. No matter what condition your feet or your shoes or whatever is in, God is with you every step of the way. So this story is about a lady named Liz. And she had as all of us, going through a lot of challenge. Her husband had died 15 years ago. Well, sorry, her husband had died 5 years previously. She'd been married to him for 15 years and met him in her junior year in college. And she hadn't really done a lot in that 5 years since he had passed. So she was kind of ready at this point to date or go out and do some things since her husband had passed for 20 years. Her friends didn't know she had taken that long because they had gotten busy with their lives, as we all know. And you know, we ask them, we say, oh, everything's okay. Don't we all do that? Everything's okay if we're really not ready to talk about it with anybody. So she was ready at this point to step out into the world. So she called all her friends that she hadn't been with for a while, but they realized it had been over a year because the last time she was at a friend's baby shower. And one of the friends, she was named Nisi, she says, let's meet at their favorite shoe store because if you're going on a date, you need a new pair of shoes. And women we like to, for different outfits, have different pairs of shoes. And their favorite thing to do was to buy shoes together. So why not go to the shoe store? So they all met up in the shoe store, they're chatting and looking at shoes, and the salesperson's coming up and asking them if they needed them. Oh no, we're okay. You know, we like to browse. And they kind of noticed that she hadn't talked about this date that she had kind of mentioned. And Nisi was the kind of bossy one that says, hey, what's going on, Liz? Why haven't you talked about what's good? Is he married? Is something's going on with him? It's like, no. She said, it's because I'm afraid. I'm afraid to date. She says, you know, my husband died and you know, it could have been my fault. And they're like, what? It's not your fault. We all have these challenges and sometimes we think it's our fault. And they're like, no, you're strong and you could get through it. And they're thinking to themselves like, I don't even know if I could have made it through. And look at her. She looks great. She's attractive and working and doing all these things and stepping out to the world. And her husband had passed. And they're saying, I don't know, but she's thinking she's weak. And they're like, no, girl, you can do this. So where is he taking you? And she says, some Thai restaurant. And she says, Nisi, of course, says, oh, good, it's an expensive one. You know, you're always going to have a girlfriend that's going to tell you, yeah, it's taking you to the expensive restaurant. So I'm glad we're at this shoe store because we really need a good pair of shoes for you. So they chatted and they talked and went through it. And she kept thinking about, you know, I don't think I can do this, and is it right, is it wrong? And they said, well, tell me a little bit about the guy. They said, well, he's a computer engineer, he's divorced, has no kids, and we like the same things. They're like, yeah, so go out with him. You know, go out and do what has to, you know, and have some fun. You're funny. He will laugh anyway, at least you will have some fun. So what are you doing, sitting home all this time? We thought you were out in the world. She's like, no. I just wasn't quite ready. So at one point they all looked at each other and they said, you know, Liz, we're going to stand by you. We might not have been around for the last year or so. We've all been busy and stuff, but we're going to stand by you. We stood through you in your marriage, through the death of your husband. We stood through you through all these things. And we're going to stand through you and we're going to cheer you on and we're going to move you through to get through this. Whatever happens with this date, get out into the world. And so Nisi, the bold one, says, hey, group hug, group hug. This is right in the shoe store. So imagine what that, so all the people in there going, what's going on with those girls over there? And so here comes the sales lady. Excuse me, is everything all right? Can't you see that? Everything all right? So Nisi says, no, nothing that we can't fix out, and picks up a red pair of 4-inch stilettos and says, I need a size 8. She's going on a date. And that was the story. This is about friendship. This is about healing. This is about moving forward in life. And the key aspect that I got out of this story was fear. Fear that has stopped her. Yes, we all heal. But it's been 5 years, and she's been hiding from her friends, not telling them about this fear. It's what we do a lot of times when we need to heal, and we hide from it. And remember last week I talked about fake it till you make it? But you can fake it till you make it, but you've got to put a stop to it because then you get stuck. And you continue to fake it instead of being authentic. And she, in herself, was staying, and then I guess she was faking it too, but because it took 5 years for her to step outside her door. Now these Bible verses I thought were great when they talk about fear. Fear in Isaiah 41:10. And if we really truly understand the power of God within us, we would understand these words. It says, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be afraid, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and I will help you. Do you believe those words truly within your being? That God will strengthen you and help you through any experience, no matter what is going on in your life, to claim the presence of God. Put your feet on the ground, take the shoes off, and ground yourself in the foundations of God so that you can release any fear. And Deuteronomy 31:8 says, it is the Lord who goes before you. God's always first. He will be with you. He will not fail you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed. These are things that are written in this Bible that was written thousands of years ago, but yet we forget when things are going on and challenges arise in our lives. We forget and we go into fear. Fear is not innate within us. Greatness and goodness and love is innate within us. But fear arises in our human form. And when we return and we read these words, we will understand, as it says in 1 John 4:18, there is no fear in love. And what are we? Love. We are children of God, born of love. So there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. Perfect love casts out fear. Fear is destructive to us. Fear holds us back and stifles our mind, body, and soul, and it paralyzes us in a spot and keeps us stuck from moving forward. And it weakens us in mind and body because God doesn't want us to have any fear. That presence of God within you is all about love and joy. And yes, you will have those ups and downs because there is a balance that takes place in love, but He wants you to move through them with grace and with ease so that you're not stuck in that one place. And yes, you might start at the beginning and take the baby steps to get out of it, but you don't want to stay there too long. You want to get up and you want to dance through life. You want to put on your gator shoes and have the self-confidence through life. And you want to put on your stilettos and make a bold move to move forward, to release any fear. I found this quote that I thought was really great because this young lady was going through, there's two meanings of fear. Forget everything and run. Some of us do that. And at a point she was doing that for 5 years. She was trying to forget it all and ran from it all the time. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with what's going on in my life. I'll just keep moving. I'll keep moving. I'll fake it. I'm great, everybody. Or you can face everything and rise. Face everything and rise, and the choice is yours. Think of that when things are going on in our life that we consider to be fearful and that keep us stuck. So what are the soul thoughts that come through this? What are the things that come out from that story about this young lady? When she forgot the presence of God, and we talked about fear, she forgot that love that casts out all fear. We must remember that our Creator, that God, did not give us the spirit of fear, but fashioned us with power, love, and a sound mind. Do we agree with that? Yeah. He didn't give us that spirit of fear, just the power to move through it all. And as I said, at some point in life, we all go through different things that we have to let go of, to face changes that are taking place in our lives. We all have regrets at some points and inner turmoils. It's a part of life. But when we take it in the absence of fear and stay stuck, we must remember that our Creator didn't give it to us, and we must move from it. We must let go and let God and eliminate any thought of fear of the way things were or why they're not that way anymore, because you can think of all the things that were going through this lady's mind when she was home and her husband had passed. He's not here anymore. He's never going to be here anymore. And all of these things are going through her mind. And in the process, she's blaming herself for what happened. But when we embrace the power of God, we get to let go and let God. We embrace an attitude that gives us the strength and the power to handle everything. God gives us all the resources we need at any point, at any time in our lives. And He knows what we can handle. Do we agree with that? He knows we never get more than what we can handle. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it in the moment, but we never get more than we can handle. So we turn to God. For this young lady, she turned to her friends. As the Daily Word was talking about, we reach out, and when we're looking for that triumphant spirit, we turn for support through God, through the Bible, through friends, through meditation, through prayer. All of these work when you have unity from within, a unity and a collection of friends who support you and bring you through. So she went to her friends to help her to take that next step out of the fear because she felt ready. And on that process of feeling ready, it's good to go through all those memories. Find out which ones are holding you back and which ones the good ones that you need to hold on to. Those ones will carry you forward throughout your life. Shift all your thoughts from negative to positive, or from fear to grace. Continuously make room in your heart and your mind for the hidden treasures that can only be found in a willingness to change. There is always hidden treasures when there's a willingness to change. We go, aha, that's what happens when I step beyond where I am right now. Ah, that's what happens when I open my heart and allow the awareness of God to come and wash over me. Eric Butterworth says, you can change your life by altering your thoughts. Change your life by altering your thoughts each step of the way. And I also thought about in this, there was a process of forgiving. She had to forgive herself and forgive what had happened, in her life, the husband dying, and all of there's that process of forgiveness when you go through to that foundation of taking your shoes off from the limited beliefs before you put them back on. In forgiveness, we get to erase any thoughts that are not our truth. We get to become more and more aware of our God power, because fear is a temporary visitor in an unwelcoming land. Fear is a temporary visitor in an unwelcoming land. As I said, God doesn't give us fear. It is not a part of who we are. So it's unwelcoming to fear in our lives, and it should always be a temporary visitor. Just remember your Creator each step of the way, because He has provided you the avenues down which we walk towards our blessings. And that's why I called it, are you ready to take that walk? Are you ready to take that walk that shifts you to a greater consciousness, walks you to your greater blessings? And as it says in 2 Timothy 1:7, for God did not give us a spirit of cowardness, but rather a spirit of power and love and of self-discipline. I'll say it again. For God, this is from 2 Timothy 1:7, for God did not give us a spirit of cowardness, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. Power, love, and self-discipline. So every time you are taking off your shoes that you wore during those hard times, during those challenging times, position yourself for a new approach to life, the direction of your heart's longings. Take them off and put the sole of your feet to the ground where your foundation is. The foundation of God, holy ground. And for this lady, she decided She's going to have 4-inch stiletto shoes in bright red, the boldest color you can find, the highest pair she probably could wear. But they were clearly an uplifting statement for her and a desire to move forward fearlessly. Not too many people will put on stilettos in red because they are bold and they are living fearlessly. It was like the young man last week who had his gator shoes on and he went and did what he did. He was bold and fearless, and the intention was to follow his true self. And she has now come to her true self, a true awareness. Her own truth is revealed, and she's coming out bold and splashy. And hopefully she wears a red dress too. And the whole thing says, I am confident. I am a child of God. I'm authentic in who I am, and I am moving forward in my life. She is shedding all that she needs to shed and putting on a bright new attitude, signaling that her former walk of fear is now a new stride of courage and self-confidence. She's stepping out into the world. Now, it's not the shoes. Shoes aren't magic. That's why we call it metaphysics of shoes. Shoes aren't magic. But sometimes what we do on the outside is a reflection of what we think and feel and believe in our minds. Isn't that true? Sometimes it's a rainy day, and as you got up and you're a little off balance and stuff like that, and you walk in your closet and you had black to put on, and you change and you put on bright yellow. And what does that do? It lifts your spirit. Or you put on the brightest pair of shoes you have, or whatever you want to do just to shift yourselves. So it's not the outer that's magic. It's the inner that shifts with the outer things that we put on. So for her, those red shoes shifted her consciousness, and they became a reflection of where she wanted to be in life at that point, to step out in confidence. Rely on your inner spirit of power always. Rely on your inner spirit of power always. Put on the shoes that move you forward. Get support from your friends, your family, or all those who are able to bring you forward, not put you down. Join with them. Go where you need to go to lift you to the next step. So are you ready to take that walk? Are you ready to take that walk away from fear? That walk to your God-given power. Are we ready to take that walk to your God-given power? Yeah? Oh, okay. Yes. You always do it?
Yeah.
Yes, I know. We do remember that many, many times. Sometimes we don't. Many of us have come to a point where we can put those red shoes or whatever it is on and step out to the world and release those fears very quickly. But sometimes we come up against that little wall that we have to knock down sometimes.
Yeah.
We all do. We come up against it. Well, some of our walls are up here, and some of the walls are down here. When your consciousness is really in tune with God, that wall can be way down here, and we can just kick it over or step over it. But sometimes when we really are in that, sometimes we call it a rut, we have to climb over that wall and release those rocks step by step by step. It took her 5 years to drop that wall, that young lady. For us, I pray that it's only a small wall, because life always brings up something. And that we can always take our shoes off and ground ourselves in the foundation of God and knock that wall down and step out with power. And as Psalm 34:4 says, I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. That's what we do in our lives when we're in tune and aware of God. And let's say together what our extraordinary soul step is today. Let's read it together. And as you see, that's a very bold person walking in that alligator mouth. He's got a lot of confidence and he trusts where he's going. So let's say it together. I trust that God has given me, provided me with all I will ever need to meet every experience, whether it's letting go of the past, fearlessly leaving the present, or courageously stepping into a new beginning. Trust that God has given you all that you need every step of the way. This young man trusts that that alligator's not going to close his mouth. He's moving forward with a bold step. So, if the shoe fits, these are the questions she put up this week. If the shoe fits, this is one you can think of when you go home, and I keep saying I'm going to send them to you and I forget. If someone remembers, send me an email, I will forward you all of these questions. But here, the first one's, can you recall a time, and you can think of this as we go along, a time when you were so crippled with fear that you had difficulty moving forward? How did it feel? And have you grown from that experience? It could have happened a long time ago. I might have to think of it for a little bit. But always think, how did you feel at that point, and how did you grow from that experience? Because we're all at this point in our lives, we've grown through a lot of experiences, correct? We've had a whole lot of journeying through our lives, and we've grown, and we handle things a lot differently than when we were teenagers and when we are where we are right now. So think about that. Number two, I want you to think about, what is it that makes letting go difficult? Anybody can answer that question today? What is it that makes letting go difficult? Fear. It is fear. Anything else that makes letting go difficult? Anybody have an idea? Answer?
Uncomfortable.
Yes. Very, very comfortable here. Oh, why should I go over there? I don't know what's over there. Anybody else? Anything else come to mind? No? Okay. So another question was, recall a situation where you helped someone else face his or her fears. What did you do? We've all supported somebody who had fears of some kind. What did you do? How did you handle it? And always remember that sometimes when we're dealing with someone who has a lot of pain or in fear and stuff, that we take it on. So in the midst of it, how did you handle it, and how are you now? One of the things I'm learning in my training of companion to dying, you may see this happening. Don't take it on, because you want to stay grounded in the presence to allow them to shift and transition to where they're going. Don't take on what they're doing, because you want to lift them up. If you take it on, then you lower your energy. So allow yourself to help and heal, both of you. And I thought this was a funny one. Did you ever buy a new pair of shoes for a specific occasion? What was the occasion? How did it turn out for you? Where are these shoes now? For women, we did that most of the time. We always buy shoes for a specific occasion, right? I know I do. That's me. Still do. Where are they now? Still in my closet. If they hurt my feet, they're gone. Sometimes I wore them for that night. They hurt. They look good. And then I gifted them to someone who could wear them without hurting their feet. I don't know if they hurt their feet, but I've gifted them, taken them out to the barn. But think of it. We've all bought shoes for specific occasions. As we get older, we might not, but we did. And the last one, I'm going to say, what would be an extraordinary step toward the release of some fear you've been holding on to? What would be your extraordinary step to release any internal fears? What is it that any of you do to release fears that come up? It's part of life.
Meditate.
Pardon?
Meditate.
Meditate, yes. That's one, very important one. Anybody else have any other things they do to release fear? Just pray. Yeah, those are key. Meditating and fear. I'm sorry, meditating and fear. Meditating and praying. Those are key. That's what we talk about in Unity all the time. We use those tools to help us move through the bumps in life, because they come whether we want them or not. But we have tools that help us to shift through them. So allow yourself to shift. Allow yourself to understand the presence of God within you for your extraordinary steps. Trust in God, for He has provided with you with all that you need for every experience in your life, whether it's letting go of the past, fearlessly living in the present, or courageously stepping into a new beginning. I sought the Lord, and He answered me and delivered me from all my fears. Are you ready to take the walk? I say, yes, I'm walking the walk. Can we say that together? Yes,
Yes,
I'm walking the walk. Amen.